Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm not going to drag this out too long, but what I'm gonna do right now, because of recent discussions that I've been having, I feel like people should know more about relationships. So I'm gonna be discussing how the planets pertain to relationships, hoping that this can help some people out there. Even though I've pretty much broken the ice with this type of discussion before, I want to elaborate some more, probably with updated information that I have as well. So I want to talk about how the planets, both personal planets and transitional planets. I'm gonna leave the generational planets out of this discussion, but I want to talk about how they pertain to relationships. Reason being is because a lot of the times in the field that I'm in, and I'm dealing with people who are dealing with their relationships, you know, there's always seems to be a component missing out of their relationships that becomes the topic of discussion. Granted, it's warranted when you look at the differentiation of the planets in the universe. See, astrology can help you describe what's going on in your love life more than any other teaching that I've come across could, more than any book could, more than any pastor could, more than any relationship guru could. The pudding is, I mean, the proof is right there in the pudding. So, what I mean by that is like this. So, you take the planet Mercury for existence, right? I mean, for no matter of fact, let's start with the sun. Let's start with the sun. The ego investment, right? Um, with the ego investment in a relationship, this is where you you and your partner or your partner, this is the things that you like and dislike. So like I was saying, sometimes with clients they be like, an issue that be in their relationship is that the person doesn't like what they do, right? Or they don't like what they like. They don't like how they express themselves freely with their ego investment based upon where their sun sign is, where the sun is in their chart, right? And it could be vice versa. And it's like, well, it's important to know the person that you marry, that you choose to be with because of this. Because just imagine how many years you can go on by being disgusted or repulsed by what it is that your partner likes to do. Imagine how they're going to feel if they have to repress their expression every time, at least when they're around you, in order to keep you happy or to refrain from being in an argument. You see how that can damage plenty of relationships, and it does. Oh, I don't like you doing that. I don't like you wearing that. I don't like when you speak to me, to that person like that, anybody like that. I don't like when you speak to the kids like that. I don't like how you do that thing with your eye or your lip. And you understand what I'm saying? And it's just like, because if the sun is in the seventh house of someone's chart, it's going to basically mean that you have to be okay with your partner having the spotlight on them and having attraction towards them and being expressive and just being someone with an ego and that has the spotlight on them. You have to be okay with it. You can't be jealous of it, or there's going to be issues throughout the relationship. It's important to see the person's chart, the other person's chart that you're getting involved with, because you'll notice about them. And what else is about the sun being in the seventh house is you'll find that you have to stroke your own partner's ego. Now you may be sitting here like, I'm not stroking my partner's ego. Fuck out of here. Well, guess what? A sun in the seventh house is probably not best for you, right? But look, it gets deeper because what are you going to have all of the planets in the seventh house? Everybody don't got seventh house stelliums, right? So what happens when planets are not in the seventh house? Because seventh house rules over relationships and marriage, right? It could be somewhere else. So the person's sun may be in the third house and they just like to talk in a way that's egotistical, very highly opinionated, and you're more about the facts. And you're like, look at this show off, going off, communicating, and all over the place, running their mouth, and they're not even right. You might be repulsed by it, but that's your partner. They just got a sun in the third house. Can you deal with it? Maybe not. They may get disgusted with you because you're disgusted with them and how they speak. But you may love their Venus. You may love their Mars in the fifth house because it's passion and sex in the fifth house, which is about fun. You know what I'm saying? Fun and romance and shit like that. You love their Mars in the fifth house, but you can't stand their Sun in the third house. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. Like, people in relationships would be distorted. There's always like a component of the relationship that's missing. Not always, but when it is, it is, and it's evident, and I'm able to go in and pick it apart and see these things for what they are. Now we get to the moon. The moon is about feelings and instincts. You know, you might suspect someone of something, or just get this eerie feeling, intuition. You think they're up to something, or you think that they're holding something back from you. You can tell, especially when you have a partner that you've been around for a significant amount of time. You can finish their sentences. You know when something is up. You know when they're thinking too heavy and they're not explaining it to you. And you pose the question, hey, what's up? You all right? Yeah. They don't kick it with you like they've done before in the past, because the moon is repetitive. Quickly repetitive too. So it's the habits, it's the creature comforts. It's like, you always do this at this time of day. And what's up with you? You know what I'm saying? This is not normal. This is not like you. So people could pick up on that. You know what I mean? And depending on what house that moon is in and what sign it's in, it can color the relationship. Sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes it could fall in Scorpio and it could be wrong. Always suspicious and suspecting something. It's like you keep investigating and looking for stuff that's not even there. Some people, the saying goes, keep looking for something, you're going to find it. Some people, they may have moon in Scorpio and they're not going to ever find it because it's not ever there. It's not always right. Intuition isn't always right. I know people tell you all the time, follow your gut, follow your instinct, follow your intuition. It's not always right. You have to align with your intuition in order for it to be correct. Because intuition is a connection between the gut feeling and the spiritual realm. So that can be a download from any multiverse, any dimension that potentially exists that you have a feeling about. And you're in this 3D, in this dimension, and you could be totally wrong about the instinctual feeling that you have about someone or something, because it's really existing in the ether in a different dimension. That's why it's important to have dreams and journal your dreams, so you might remember where that's coming from. I'll pretty much leave the moon there. But apart from saying, reiterating that people can track your patterns much better when it comes to your moon. So if you go off tilt and you get questioned about it, especially if you're caught and you're doing something that you ain't supposed to be doing, and you might be like, damn, man, they always on me. I can't do that thing. What is it, porn? Whatever it is that you're doing, I can't do that thing because they on me. And it's like, yo, their moon is sharp. They tracking your movements. They know how to track you. Body language and shit like that. They track all that shit with the moon. So now if we're talking about Mercury, right? You think about people who have Mercury highly aspected, like if Mercury is in, if a person has their Mercury in Aquarius, or, they're gonna want their partner. Let's say Mercury is in the 7th house, or Mercury is in Aquarius in the 7th house. They're gonna want their partner to be their best friend. They're gonna have to be mentally stimulated by their partner, or that shit is not going to work. They might even be a serial dater. They might not ever settle down because the Aquarius is unpredictable. Or if Uranus is in the 7th house, for example, it's unpredictable, it's sporadic. It may not ever settle down, but if they do choose to settle down, they're gonna have to be friends. You know what I'm saying? So it can't be all, I married this person because I'm a good earner and I'm a good provider and a good protector. You know how that's being emphasized in the media right now, right? That's the alpha male. That's how it's supposed to be. That's traditional ways, and everything's changing, and the men are weak. And that's one archetype, which is really a Jupiter archetype, which I'm going to get to, but it doesn't float everybody's boat. Like I said, if you got a partner that got the Uranus in the 7th house, they might not care about all that shit. They're going to want their independence. Let's speak about that. Uranus in the 7th house, they're going to want their independence too, their freedom. Uranus in the 7th house of Aquarius, you bet your fucking ass they will. And you could still take care of them. But they're still going to want to be able to do their own thing, have their own job, work where they want to work. And you got to be okay with that, because that's who you chose to love. That's who you chose to get into marriage with. But if you don't know these things, you don't see the chart, you don't notice in the early stages, they might show you, again, that Mars in the 5th house, or they might show you that Venus in the 7th house, and you wooed by that, you swept off your feet by that, and you don't even know about the Uranus conjunct the 7th house. You don't even know about that. What happens when you first start dating with someone? Most of the times, y'all come across as friends, right? They may not know the deep logic behind you, like you want to be a protector and provider, and you got rules and regulations for your broad, and then come to find out she got Uranus in the 7th house of Aquarius. And you like, oh shit, I ain't ever gonna like cage this broad. Ever. Or maybe saying it in the 1st house is even more of a distinct way of putting it. Because they'll embody it more strongly with it being in the 1st house. But mental stimulation, my point for Mercury is mental stimulation is going to be important when it comes to where Mercury is. Now, for all these planets that I'm naming as well, I didn't used to do this before, but synastry charts are important. I didn't like them in the beginning. I'm like, it doesn't make no fucking sense, but it's because I'm biased, because I like being an individual first before getting involved with someone, I've learned. So I always tell people to focus on their solar chart and their natal chart. And then, because people are always want consultancy from me about what's happening in their relationship right now. So I'll be like, yo, we're going to track your solar chart and find that out. But if we look at your synastry chart, we're talking about an overall picture. You don't know if this is going to be exercised today, if it's going to be exercised 15 years from now. This is just y'all relationship on a whole. But even with a synastry chart, sure, I'm saying now that they have more relevance than I thought before. You're still going to have to do more detailed research to find out what's happening right now. But to have the overall picture of your relationship, no matter what, is a good thing. It is. So if you looking for intellect, if you're looking to be mentally stimulated, you want to see where Mercury is in both your charts. So you won't have to consistently go through the types of arguments that you might have to go through if you didn't have the knowledge. And when it comes to Mars, this is where you get your shit off. Sex, we're talking about sex, passionate drive, ambition. But let's talk about the bedroom since we're talking about relationships, right? This is where people get their shit off. So it's like when you ever had sex with someone and you busting up before they did, they might bring it up like, damn, you always do that. You know what I'm saying? Why you don't think about me? That's that Mars energy, is being selfish. You understand what I'm saying? Now, on the other hand, some people want to be, jocks. They want to be, they want to exercise that prowess and show you, oh, I'm going to last all night. I'm going to destroy your shit. You know what I'm saying? And they'll use it in that type of way as well. Don't get me wrong. In fact, Mars is the bad boy archetype that will probably dick you down until you go to sleep. But only thing else they got is bubblegum. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're not trying to break bread with you. They're not trying to. They might protect you in some shit jump off. Yeah, that's Mars. It's gonna take action and protect you on some war shit. But as far as providing for you and making sure you got a place to stay and buying you a car for your birthday and all that shit, you could fuck. And it could happen, depending on some aspects, and then but that's not their main goal. That's not their job. They're not obligated to do that when you're talking about the planet Mars, and vice versa. The roles the same way with the women, same thing. But more importantly with the man, because Mars represents man, its symbology is man, and in astrology, women find men in the planet Mars and Jupiter, while men find women in the planet Venus. Simple. You know what I mean? But that's how Mars gets enacted. And that's where you could also check for like domestic violence and shit like that as well. Where's the Mars at? Because if their temper gets the best of them, right? If it's like in the 5th house, it could get the best of them. If it's in the sign Scorpio, even They could have a temper. If it's in the sign of Gemini, or if it's in the third house, you could expect a lot of arguments, heated ones. You don't know how far that temper can go. So these are things that you want to look at when it comes to the planet Mars. Now the planet Venus is what love means. It means you're either going to compromise or you're going to cooperate when it comes to exchanging value, right? You're going to be attracted to each other based on Venus. Some people are not even attracted to each other, but they're together. How does that work? Well, it might be that their Jupiter, the woman's Jupiter archetype is in there. It's in the sign of that person's sun sign. So let's say a woman got Jupiter in the sign of Leo, and it's in the first 10 degrees of the sign Leo, and they meet a Leo, but they're not attracted to the Leo. They're attracted to the Leo's wealth, their generosity, their ability to be a great earner and a great provider, and that turns them on because of where their Jupiter is placed in their chart. So it's really nobody's business. They be like, oh, what does she see in him? It's none of your fucking business. God knows what the fuck God did. Put Jupiter in her in her sign of Leo, so that she can attract a husband archetype. Now it doesn't mean that if she got Mars somewhere too. Right? Her Mars might be in the 7th house. She might cheat on the Jupiter husband archetype dude because Mars is in her 7th house and she just can't stay away from this bad boy archetype because it's in the 7th house. She might just always daydream about some dude that represents that Mars archetype. You know what I mean? But what do? This is what I'm saying. There's a differentiation between these planets, and this is why there's distortion and differentiation in people's relationships. All of those planets can't be consolidated in one. Now, like I said, if you got a freakish stellium, you're kind of lucky, to be honest. That's the great thing about stelliums. You can have all that jumbled up in one sign or in one house, and then you see that in a person, and you're like, man, that person really got their shit together. They grounded. You know what I'm saying? They're stable because of this, or they're really sexual because of this, and whatever. You know what I mean? And like I said, Jupiter is the archetype of the husband. But see, this is also the difference between Jupiter and Mars as far as a husband archetype. Let's talk about that, right? Mars is a personal planet. Jupiter is a transitional planet. So yeah, you're gonna have your fun with your women. You're gonna have your fun with your Mars archetype guy. Probably in the first years of you having sex in your life and shit like that, you're gonna be going through the thick and the thin, the problems with them, maybe getting arrested, getting out, bailing out, fighting bitches, fighting niggas, all that shit, right? And then the next thing you know, you grow, and you realize that the more that you stay in relationships with dudes that have that particular archetype, the more you're gonna repeat that same pattern. And it's not until you meet that Jupiter figure, that Jupiter archetype, that you can transition to the next level in life. Yes, there is levels in life to this. There's levels to this fucking game of life. Some people don't ever transition. That's their business. You know what I'm saying? Maybe next lifetime. But I'm telling you what these planets are here for. Venus, I kind of like skipped over it for the fellas, right? So Venus lets you know the difference between the genders, man and woman, because you're either going to be attracted to her or she's going to be attracted to you, right? It might be both, but it might just be one attracted to the other. Regardless, that's going to bring some magnetism, and this is going to show man that he can soften, but he only softens because of this woman. You understand what I'm saying? Without it, we're like lug nuts. I know that's a word or something used like attached to tools or some shit, right? But that's all we are, like fucking lug nuts. Like, we're just junk. We're like, I'm not saying we're dumb, but it's just like, we're not here for the soft shit unless she's there for us, so we can do that, so we can be that. It's like we got the chromosome within. She's the manifestation of that. So that allows us to bring that out of us. You understand what I'm saying? That's the beauty of Venus. It rules over beauty. Like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? When women, they're more going to be, women are just very good when it comes to love, because it's kind of like it's a balancing out. Why would anything need balance? Because something is more along the lines of without. It's weighing on the scale too much heavy over this way. And that's how we are as men. Women, they're already more balanced because of Venus. It rules over Libra. It rules over the scales. We need them because of that shit, yo. And this is why I be talking about guys need to get in touch with the feminine side and all that. We got the chromosome, B. Like, all of us started off as women in the womb. Like, think about this shit for real. We ended up evolving into men in the womb. You get what I'm saying? But we did evolve into men, so we got to deal with that too. So you can see how it behooves us to actually find a woman that we could kick it with and vibe with like that, to where we could chill the fuck out sometimes. And where Venus is in our chart is where we can find someone that actually cooperate with us. So guys who are on these media outlets and in these publications, and they're talking like, yeah, I need a broad who's submissive. I need a broad that's gonna work with a nigga. You know what I mean? That's not standoffish. And they're like, well, you need to find out where your Venus is and her Venus. It would help. But you definitely need to find out where your Venus is, because you'll find out who's more compatible with being cooperative with you. It could be in a fire sign, and you might be like, ain't no fucking way fire sign's going to be cooperative. If you got Venus in a fire sign, yeah. Try it. You'll see. You'll be like, oh shit. A submissive Sagittarius? Get the fuck out of here. God knew what he was doing, or she was doing, or whatever the fuck. Look at your natal charts. And then when you find where her Venus is, you'll see where she's more organically going to be cooperative with the person that she's exchanging value with or in a relationship with, right? You may have it in a fire sign in the third house. She may have, in the eighth house, right? She may have it in a earth sign in the third house. It doesn't mean that y'all not going to be compatible though, because you got her in your eighth house. That's going to work for you. But you're also going to see where she's like that, cooperative and exchanging value, but she might do it with her neighbors because it's in the third house. And you might look at her like, yo, why you so cool with the neighbors like that? Fuck, y'all got something going on. Don't trip, nigga, because Venus in the eighth house, you might got some little jealous. Don't trip. She got hers in the third house. Right? Differentiation of planets in people's charts make people miss certain elements of the relationship. You'd be like, yo, my husband is cool or my wife is cool, but there's certain shit I just wish she was, it just lacks it in my work. But my work wife, she got that shit. That's life, B. Now, Saturn is where you look for devotion. If you want a devoted mate, a committed mate, I say, a committed mate, look for where the Saturn is. If you can get Saturn in the seventh house, you're a lucky motherfucker if you just want to be sure that somebody's not going to leave your ass. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be the most lively, fun person. You could fucking forget about it. If anything, they're going to be more solid, dry, perhaps boring, sticking to the script, highly predictable, but definitely going to be there for you. You could yell at them. You could throw fucking dishes at them. I'm not saying they pushovers, they not. But they're not going nowhere. They're going to be like, yo, you really need to calm down. That's what the Saturn archetype is like. Or where Saturn is in the chart, it's like, you really need to calm that down. You need to grab a hold of yourself. You need to show some discipline. You need to show some restraint in that area. Because they're going to be lax about it. They're just going to be stern in their chair, responsible. Oh, you want to run off and say you running away to your mom's house and this, that, and the third? Go ahead. That Saturn motherfucker going to be right there at the house in their chair, playing the game, drinking the beer, whatever their vice is, smoking a cigar, waiting for you to get back. You can't shake that motherfucker if you tried. Because when they said, yo, Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. Libra rules over relationships and marriage. So when those vows are made, that Saturn shit is for real. It's locked in for real. So I'm gonna bring that to a close now. I even feel like it was kind of scattered. I probably could have did a better job explaining this stuff, but it's been a little minute since I've been in an astrological vein on a public tip. I've been more behind the scenes doing private sessions and stuff like that, with people's actual charts in front of me. So it's more, I would say, valid. I'm kind of like just dipping all over the place, but I'm pretty sure that this could help someone who's watched. You get in the comment section and we could really get into more detail of the discussion. All right, I'm out.